Most people think theme parks are about freedom and fun, but they are actually totalitarian states run by a cartoon mouse. From mandatory silence on roller coasters to the legal requirement to wear someone else's underwear, we have compiled the ultimate list of corporate absurdity. You are about to realize that your last family vacation was basically a minefield of near-miss felonies. Here are 50 ridiculous rules that prove the magic comes with a serious warning label. 1. In Japan, several theme parks introduced a no screaming rule on roller coasters during the pandemic, and it was so bizarre it stuck in the public consciousness. Instead of yelling, riders were instructed to scream inside your heart. Yes, that is an actual quote from the executives. You are plummeting 200 feet at 80 miles per hour, your adrenaline is spiking, and you are expected to maintain the stoic silence of a monk. It is the most dystopian way to have fun imaginable. Please suppress your terror politely. 2. This is grim, but people keep trying to scatter their loved ones' ashes at Disneyland, specifically on the Haunted Mansion ride. It happens so often that custodians have a special code for it. HEPA cleanup. That's right. If you try to leave grandma with the ghosts, she's getting vacuumed up and thrown in the trash. It's not the eternal resting place you planned. It's a biohazard violation. Stop treating theme parks like cemeteries. It's weird for everyone involved. 3. At the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, don't think you can just start a magical brawl whenever you feel like it. Staff members are strictly prohibited from engaging in wizard duels with guests if the guest isn't using an interactive wand purchased at the park. Apparently, the magic only works if you have the receipt. It's a harsh lesson in capitalism for budding witches and wizards. Your spells are technically powerless unless you have paid the licensing fee and bought the merchandise. 4. If you are over 14 at a Disney park, leave your Elsa dress at home. Adults are strictly banned from wearing costumes because the park can't have kids confusing some random guy in a spandex suit for the real Spider-Man. It's about protecting character integrity. They don't want a budget Batman swearing near the food court or acting weird. Disney needs total control over the magic, and frankly, they just don't trust you not to accidentally traumatize a toddler. 5. You might think you're being nice by tipping a Disney employee, but you are actually putting them in a nightmare scenario. Most cast members are strictly forbidden from accepting cash tips. If they take your money, they can be fired on the spot. They are trained to politely refuse you 3 times. If you force it into their pocket, they legally have to hand it over to a manager to be donated. It turns a kind gesture into a stressful test of corporate loyalty. Trying to be generous could actually cost someone their livelihood. 6. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, you will never see a balloon. They are completely banned. This isn't because the animals are afraid of floating rubber. It's because if a giraffe eats a popped balloon, that's a multi-million-dollar asset down the drain. Plus, straws and plastic lids are also contraband. Basically, if it can choke a zebra, you can't have it. It makes sense, but have you ever tried to explain to a toddler why they can't have a balloon at the happiest place on Earth? Good luck with that negotiation. 7. Legoland Discovery Centers have a strict policy. No adults allowed unless accompanied by a child. They hold specific adult nights occasionally, but if you show up on a Tuesday afternoon just wanting to build a cool tower, you're treated like a creeper and turned away at the door. I get the safety aspect, but doesn't it feel a little unfair to criminalize nostalgia? Or is a solo grown man in a pit of plastic bricks actually as weird as they think it is? 8. In North Korea's Kasan Youth Park, the rules are less about safety and more about survival. Reports suggest that if you don't look like you're having a sufficient amount of socialist fun, you could be in trouble. Also, you must dress formally. Nothing says leisure time like riding a gravity-defying drop tower while wearing a full suit and a pin of the dear leader, terrified that your tie might fly up and cause a diplomatic incident. 9. If you work as a Disney character, the social media silence rule is absolute. You are strictly forbidden from posting selfies in costume or telling people, "I am Mickey Mouse." You can only say you are friends with Mickey. If you post a photo of yourself in the break room with your head off, you will be fired before the photo even gets a like. They protect the illusion so aggressively that actors basically have to live a double life, like secret agents in fursuits. 10. You cannot buy chewing gum at any Disney park. Walt Disney absolutely hated the stuff because he knew people would stick it under tables and on rides, creating a sticky maintenance nightmare. You can bring your own, technically, but they won't sell it to you. It's a subtle form of behavioral engineering. If they control the supply, they control the mess. It's honestly genius, considering how much time the rest of the world spends scraping minty sludge off the bottom of school desks. 11. You might remember the viral Andy's Coming challenge, where Toy Story characters would drop to the ground if you yelled it. It was fun until Disney legally banned it. Why? Because actors throwing themselves onto concrete 20 times a day was destroying their knees and causing massive insurance claims. Now, if you scream it at Woody, he just stares at you awkwardly. The magic was killed by workers' compensation laws. It is a harsh reminder that under the mask, there is just a tired employee trying to avoid knee surgery. 12. Disney World is one of the only places in the United States that has a permanent no-fly zone over it, just like the White House. After 9/11, they successfully lobbied Congress to ban aircraft from flying below 3,000 feet over the parks. It isn't just about safety, it is about keeping the outside world away. You will never see a skywriting plane or a news chopper destroying the illusion. It is the only theme park with its own federally protected airspace, proving that Mickey Mouse has more political power than most governors. 13. Selfie sticks are universally banned at major theme parks, and the reason is pure stupidity. Guests kept whipping them out on roller coasters to film themselves screaming. The problem is that if the metal stick hits a sensor, the ride's computer triggers an emergency stop. One narcissist trying to get a cool angle can leave 100 people stranded on a lift hill for an hour. It is the ultimate example of one person ruining the fun for everyone else, just to get a blurry video for Instagram. 14. At Universal Studios, they do not play around with loose change on high-speed coasters. Before you ride the Velocicoaster, you must go through a metal detector. This isn't just security theater. It is about physics. At 70 miles per hour, a penny flying out of your pocket becomes a projectile bullet that can slice open the forehead of the person behind you. You literally have to empty your pockets to prevent accidental weaponry. Would you feel safe riding, knowing the guy in front of you has a pocket full of coins? 15. Disney employees are strictly forbidden from saying the phrase, "I don't know." If you ask them a question they can't answer, they are trained never to just shrug. They must immediately call an operator or find another employee who does know. The goal is to maintain the perfect illusion of a magical utopia where incompetence doesn't exist. It creates a weirdly high standard of service. Imagine if your boss made it illegal for you to be confused at work. You would probably quit on the first day. 16. You can pay hundreds of dollars for a ticket, but you are not allowed to sleep on the benches. If security sees you dozing off in the Magic Kingdom, they will wake you up immediately. Disney executives believe that seeing people sleeping on park benches ruins the high-energy atmosphere and makes the place look dirty. You are expected to be awake and happy at all times, even if you are exhausted. It is mandatory fun, whether you have the energy for it or not. Would you be annoyed if a guard woke you up from a nap? 17. If you go to a water park, lifeguards are constantly staring at your swimsuit. But not for the reason you think. They are checking for zippers or metal rivets. One tiny piece of metal on your shorts can scratch the fiberglass of the slide. This creates a jagged edge that acts like a razor blade for the next slider. If they spot a zipper, you are banned from the ride immediately. It is a strict rule designed to keep the water from turning red. Did you know your swim trunks could be a safety hazard? 18. For decades, Disney had a total ban on facial hair to keep a clean-cut 1950s look. They recently relaxed this, but with a bizarre catch. You cannot have stubble. You must have a fully grown, neatly trimmed beard. or a completely clean-shaven face. You are not allowed to be in the growing it out phase while on the clock. It is a strange level of control over men's grooming. You basically have to grow your beard on vacation and come back looking like a lumberjack, or not at all. 19. At family-friendly parks like Dollywood, the fashion police are very real. Security will stop you at the gate if you are wearing clothing with profanity or violent images. They will literally make you buy a new shirt at the gift shop or turn yours inside out before they let you enter. They take the family atmosphere very seriously and refuse to let your bad taste ruin it. Do you think parks have the right to police what you wear, or is that a violation of your personal expression? 20. Being a mascot sounds fun until you encounter the head-on rule. Even if you are overheating, having a panic attack, or about to vomit, you are strictly forbidden from removing your character head in public view. There are horror stories of cast members getting sick inside the helmet because taking it off in front of guests is an instant fireable offense. You literally have to choose between your own physical safety and preserving the illusion that Goofy is real. It is a level of corporate loyalty that borders on absolute madness. 21. If you ever see a cowboy walking through Tomorrowland, something has gone terribly wrong. Disney built a massive system of underground tunnels called utilidors, specifically to prevent this. They have a strict rule against character cross-contamination. A cast member dressed as a colonial patriot cannot be seen in a sci-fi zone because it shatters the immersion. They essentially force their employees to live like mole people beneath the park just so you don't have to explain to your kids why Cinderella is buying a burrito next to an astronaut. 22. In many Chinese theme parks, the price of your ticket isn't determined by your age, but strictly by your height. If your child is simply tall for their age, they are forced to pay the full adult price, regardless of whether they are actually 12 years old. It is essentially a genetic tax on tall families. Parents have been known to try and instruct their kids to slouch at the ticket booth to save money. Do you think it is fair to charge a child more just because they had an early growth spurt, or is that a total scam? 23. Being a Disney character is physically dangerous because of the no self-defense rule. If a bratty kid decides to punch Mickey Mouse in the stomach, the actor inside literally has to take the hit. They are trained in defensive hugging or turning away, but they can never shove the kid back or protect themselves aggressively. They have to maintain the character's friendly persona, even while being assaulted by a sugar-fueled 6-year-old. It takes the phrase, "the customer is always right," to a painful new level. 24. Walt Disney was obsessed with human laziness. He observed guests in other parks and calculated exactly how many steps a person would walk with a hot dog wrapper before dropping it on the ground. The magic number was 30 steps. That is why, by strict rule, you will never be more than 30 feet away from a trash can in a Disney park. It isn't just about convenience. It is a calculated architectural design based on the fact that the average tourist is too lazy to hold a piece of garbage for more than 20 seconds. 25. In many Japanese theme parks and water parks, having visible tattoos is strictly forbidden. This isn't just about aesthetics. It is because tattoos are historically associated with the Yakuza, the organized crime syndicates. If you have a small tattoo, they might ask you to cover it with a bandage, but if you have a full sleeve, you are simply not welcome inside. It is a major culture shock for Western tourists who just wanted to take a dip in the pool but get treated like dangerous gangsters. 26. At Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, the no-touch rule goes both ways, but it is much harder for the guests. Scare actors will jump out at you with chainsaws, and your natural instinct might be to push them away in terror. If you do, you are ejected immediately. Security does not care about your fight-or-flight reflex. You have to pay money to be terrified, but you must remain perfectly passive while it happens. If you got scared and accidentally punched a zombie, should you be banned, or is that just a natural human reaction? 27. Never, under any circumstances, drink the water on a water ride like Pirates of the Caribbean. It isn't just dirty, it is chemically aggressive. Disney uses a chemical called bromine instead of chlorine because it doesn't smell as strong, but it stains clothes and is not meant for consumption. If you fall in, you are basically soaking in a mild industrial solvent designed to kill bacteria from thousands of sweaty tourists. That distinct Disney water smell is actually the scent of heavy-duty chemical warfare against germs. 28. Disney has a brilliant psychological rule regarding lost children. Lost children do not exist. If a kid is separated from their family, staff are trained to never refer to them as a lost kid. Instead, they say there are lost adults. The child is treated like they are exactly where they are supposed to be, and the parents are the ones who are confused and wandering around. It keeps the child calm and subtly shames the parents for losing track of their kid. It is a masterclass in reverse psychology. 29. For years, a notorious trend called Flash Mountain involved guests exposing themselves for the ride photo right at the big drop. Disney's response was brutal: collective punishment. Now, if just one person in your log flips the bird or flashes the camera, the system automatically deletes the photo for everyone in the vehicle. You lose your precious family souvenir solely because a stranger in the back row decided to be edgy. It forces you to hate the people sitting behind you before the ride even ends. Is it fair to punish the whole boat for one idiot? Or is that the only way to stop them? 30. The most humiliating rule in any theme park is the test seat. Before you get in line for a ride like Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, there is a sample seat outside. If the safety restraint doesn't click, you cannot ride. It saves time, but it forces guests to publicly test if they are too big for the ride in front of hundreds of passing strangers. It is a walk of shame designed by engineers who clearly didn't care about anyone's self-esteem. It is efficient, but it is absolutely brutal. 31. If you want a Coke in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, good luck finding the famous red logo. Universal agreed to J.K. Rowling's strict demand that no Muggle brands could be visible in the magic zones. They had to create custom, movie-accurate labels for water and pumpkin juice just to hide the real world. You can drink soda, but you won't see a single Coca-Cola sign anywhere in Hogsmeade. It shows an obsessive level of detail. Do you care about that kind of deep immersion, or do you just want to find your drink without solving a riddle? 32. Theme park staff have developed a secret language to avoid disgusting you while you eat your lunch. If someone vomits on a ride, they never say the word vomit on the radio where guests might hear. They call it a code V or a protein spill. It sounds like a calm scientific experiment, but it is actually just a pile of half-digested hot dogs. It helps keep the guests calm because hearing cleanup on aisle 3 is way less gross than hearing what is actually waiting for the janitor with the sawdust bucket. 33. Disney has officially declared war on merchandise pirates. These are the people who buy 50 limited edition popcorn buckets just to resell them on eBay for triple the price. The parks now enforce strict limits per person and have permanently banned known personal shoppers caught abusing the system. It is a satisfying rule for anyone who just wanted one souvenir but found empty shelves. Is it fair for the park to ban people for buying too much, or is it their right to spend their money however they want? 34. If you wear denim shorts to a water park, you are almost certainly not getting in the pool. It sounds like a snobby fashion critique, but it is actually about filtration systems. The cotton fibers in denim fray easily in the water and clog up the massive, expensive pool filters. Also, heavy wet jeans are a serious drowning hazard because they weigh you down significantly. It is a strict rule that saves the park maintenance costs and saves you from looking absolutely ridiculous in heavy wet jeans. 35. While most parks have rules to keep children away from heavy machinery, Diggerland in the UK and USA exists solely to break that rule. They let small children operate real, diesel-powered construction excavators. There are safety limiters, sure, but you are still putting a 5-year-old behind the controls of a multi-ton digging machine. It defies every safety instinct reasonable parents have, yet it is completely legal. It is the only place where child labor laws look more like a suggestion than a requirement. 36. Emotional support animals are a controversial topic, but theme parks have drawn a very hard line. Only legitimate service dogs and miniature horses are allowed inside. Disney had to clarify this rule after people tried to bring in comfort peacocks and support snakes. The rule is simple. If your animal is not trained to perform a specific medical task, it stays in the car. It prevents the chaos of a petting zoo breaking out in the middle of a crowded ride queue. Do you think this is fair to pet owners? 37. Hidden in Disneyland is Club 33, a secret VIP lounge for the ultra-rich with one golden rule: absolute privacy. If you take a photo of another guest inside, your membership is revoked instantly. Since members are often celebrities or politicians who want to get drunk without ending up on TMZ, the no-photo policy is enforced aggressively. You are paying thousands of dollars just for the right to hide from the public. It is the only place in the park where taking a selfie is a fireable offense. 38. At Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, the Formula Rossa coaster is so fast that you are strictly required to wear heavy-duty safety goggles. It launches you at 150 miles per hour, meaning a tiny bug or grain of sand hitting your eye at that velocity would feel like a gunshot. This isn't a suggestion. If you refuse the glasses, you do not ride. It is the only attraction on Earth where you have to dress like a lab scientist just to prevent yourself from being blinded by the wind. It proves that extreme speed comes with some very uncool fashion sacrifices. 39. Money cannot buy you a night in the Cinderella Castle suite at Disney World. It is likely the most exclusive hotel room on Earth located inside the castle itself. You cannot book it online, you cannot bribe your way in, and celebrities can't even reserve it. The only way to stay there is to win a specific contest or be personally invited by the company. It is a rule that proves some things are genuinely off-limits to the public, no matter how rich or famous you might be. 40. At Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, guests are strictly banned from wearing costumes. This rule exists solely to prevent confusion in the dark. In a foggy scare zone, security needs to know instantly who is a paid actor and who is just a drunk tourist. If guests dressed up as zombies, they could start scaring other people or even attacking the actors. The rule ensures that if someone jumps out at you with a chainsaw, they are definitely on the payroll and not just a random crazy person. 41. Disney engineers use a specific shade of paint called go-away green. It is a dull, grayish-green color designed to be completely invisible to the human eye when surrounded by landscaping. They paint trash cans, utility boxes, and massive show buildings with this color so your brain literally ignores them. You have walked past huge, ugly structures 100 times without noticing them because of this psychological trick. It proves that with the right color palette, you can hide a skyscraper in plain sight. 42. At Universal's Volcano Bay Water Park, the Kokiri Body Plunge features a moment of pure anxiety, a mandatory public weighing. Before you step into the capsule, you must stand on a scale. It doesn't display your weight in numbers, but it uses a red light, green light system. If the light turns red, you are too heavy, and you have to do the walk of shame back down the stairs past everyone waiting in line. It is a brutal, silent rejection by a machine that ruins your day instantly. Would you risk the red light? 43. If you break enough rules, you don't just get kicked out, you get sent to Disney jail. It isn't a cartoon dungeon, but a small, windowless holding room where security interrogates you while waiting for the real police. You go from eating a churro in the sun to being detained in a sterile white room with serious officers. It is a sobering reality check that ruins the magic instantly. Is getting banned for life really worth the prank you were trying to pull? 44. The height requirements for Disney princesses are stricter than the military. To be Cinderella or Belle, you must be between 5'4" and 5'7". If you are 5'3", you are too short. If you are 5'8", you are too tall. This rule exists so that the costumes fit perfectly and the characters look the same regardless of which actor is playing them that day. You could be the most talented actor in the world, but if you are an inch too tall, your career is over before it starts. 45. At Dollywood, Dolly Parton herself has a rule that no one is allowed to ride the rides if there is even a hint of a thunderstorm nearby. While most parks wait for lightning within a 10-mile radius, Dollywood shuts down operations much sooner because the park is located deep in the mountains where weather is unpredictable. It's frustrating for guests, but it comes from a place of genuine caution. You can be standing in bright sunshine and still be told you can't ride because a cloud looks suspicious 3 counties away. 46. There is a persistent urban legend that no one dies at Disney, and it is partially based on a weird protocol. First responders are often instructed not to declare a victim dead on park property. They continue resuscitation efforts until the ambulance leaves the gates so the death can be officially recorded at the hospital, not the Magic Kingdom. It keeps the park's safety record clean and prevents headlines like "Death at Disneyland." It is a dark bureaucratic loophole to keep the place the happiest place on Earth. 47. If you ask a Disney cast member where the bathroom is, pay close attention to their hands. They will never point with just one finger. It is strictly forbidden by their training. They must use 2 fingers or a full open palm. Why? Because in some cultures, pointing with a single index finger is considered incredibly rude, and the mouse would rather look like he is constantly trying to summon a waiter than accidentally offend a tourist from halfway across the globe. It's polite, sure, but it looks like everyone is doing a synchronized dance move. 48. Universal Studios has a zero-tolerance policy for loose articles on their biggest coasters that includes metal detectors. If you try to sneak your phone in your sock to film a TikTok, you aren't just kicked off the ride. You are often banned from the park for a year. They treat a Samsung Galaxy like a loaded weapon because, at 70 miles per hour, it essentially is one. Is a blurry video of your feet really worth getting banned from the park forever? 49. Disney uses undercover shoppers who look exactly like tourists, but they are actually security and quality control officers. They wander the parks with families, buy food, and ride attractions, all while secretly grading the staff and watching for troublemakers. That nice family standing next to you in line might actually be working for the mouse, listening to your conversation. It adds a layer of paranoia, knowing that anyone around you could be a secret agent for the corporation. All right, we have covered 49 bizarre, strict, and hilarious rules, and we have one final heavyweight champion left. But before we reveal number 50, it is time for the final verdict. In our opinion, the award for the most ridiculous rule goes to number 1, the Japanese scream inside your heart rule. Why? Because asking people to ride a terrifying roller coaster in total silence is the most dystopian, unnatural request in human history. It is hilarious, impossible, and perfectly summarizes how controlling these parks can be. Do you agree with our choice? Let us know in the comments. And now, our final number. 50. Until 2001, Disney had a disturbing rule requiring cast members to wear company-issued underwear. If you were playing Goofy or Mickey, you had to wear the communal underpants provided by the wardrobe department. The problem was, these shared garments weren't always washed properly, leading to outbreaks of lice and scabies among the staff. The union finally fought for the right to wear your own underwear, ending the grossest rule in theme park history. It is a grim reminder that the magic used to be incredibly unhygienic. We have explored 50 ways that theme parks control your behavior, your wallet, and even your screams. From banning balloons to legally protecting the airspace, these rules prove that the magic is actually a carefully engineered machine running on strict regulations. So the next time you walk through those gates, remember, have fun, but don't break the rules, or you might end up in Disney jail. If you could snap your fingers and wipe one of these rules off the books forever, which one hits the trash can first? Tell us below. Thanks for watching, and stay out of trouble.